What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Triple Threat Talk, Ep.7. Damn, that's crazy. Very special episode today. We will be going through the Tuesday and Wednesday games. We got some Instagram questions today, so shout out everybody who asked a question. And then we got a nice little third segment, but I will do that. I will talk about that after I introduce our first guest of the show. We got my boy, Zach Archipley. Zach and I went to high school together. I'm going to be calling him Zarch because that's how I know him, and that's how he introduced himself to me. Zarch, how are you?
Dude, I'm excited to be here, man. I'm truly honored to be the first guest on this podcast. I've seen every episode, so it's a real blessing to be here right now.
Hey, I'm excited to have you. I mean, it kind of makes sense that you're one of the first guests. I talk to you every day about sports and everything. Like, I think I don't really hang out with anybody else more other than Betsy, other than my mom. And so the third segment of today's episode, Zarch and I have been kind of just going at each other, or friendly arguments of should this person's number be retired for this team or something. It started with right after the Vince Carter retirement, and you and I had a lengthy conversation about DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, and then it kind of continued on into what we have today. So he has 5 names. I have no idea who he chose. I have 5 names, and he doesn't know who I chose. So if we overlap, that's hilarious. If we don't, then we have 10 guys to talk about. But we're going to start it off with probably the game of the week, the most enticing matchup from the past 2 days, which is the, at the time, undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers traveling to Boston to face the Boston Celtics. Everybody was saying that this is going to be an Eastern Conference Finals preview, and we got that intensity. You know, Boston was up 20-something, I think, at kind of the early part of the third quarter. Cleveland makes a huge run back, and Boston holds on to a 120-117 win. Jason Tatum, 33 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals on 50% shooting and 6 of 10 from 3. Al Horford played huge in terms of the spacing and also great defense for the Celtics, 20 points, 7 boards, 3 blocks, and each coming at crucial times, and 4 of 5 from 3. Donovan Mitchell did best he could to keep the Cavs in this game with 35 points of his own, 8 rebounds and 3 assists. And then also Craig Porter Jr., rookie out of Wichita State, off the bench, 15 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3. But Darius Garland shooting March 21st, 3 of 21, 8 points, 7 assists. It was the game that everyone expected it to be, and it was the game that we got. It was great defense, great offense from both sides. The NBA is a game of runs, and it was in full effect with this tonight. With it on Tuesday, and it very much. And there's nothing that Cleveland fans should like hang their hats on. They were without Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro, and Dean Wade. Not that anyway. And obviously the Celtics were without Kristaps. So this is going to be a much more anticipated matchup. I know that they have their next matchup on December 1st in Cleveland. So I think that will really be another test. But yeah, I mean, Zarch, you got any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think that was a good game for Cleveland. I mean, they hit well on their free throws. I think, like you said, it's a game of runs. So they held in pretty tight with the defending champions. And, like you said, they were down some players. And I think it showed that they, could have shot better behind the 3-point line. But, otherwise – They were less turnovers, higher free throw percentage. They held in there with field goal percentage. So I think they're a great team, and I think they have a chance to make a pretty solid run this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just with the Celtics, it's like you're dealing with a math issue. It's not even so much a stat issue. It's like the Celtics are going to shoot more threes than you, and you know that. Like, I think the
Yeah.
Celtics are like I saw this chart, and it was like the Celtics are last in 2-point attempts, but they're first in threes, and they have the second most efficient offense in the NBA right now. And it's just like there's nothing you can really try and like there's not much you can do about it. And when the Celtics shoot, I think it was like 60% from three in the first half, or like 50% from three. That's just it regardless of the defense. That's just not gonna you're not gonna be able to stay in that game. And it only just hurt even more with Darius Garland not having a night that he like an uncommon night to what he has had this season. He's been very good this season. He's very much stepped it up. A lot of it is very much because of him getting healthy, and sure, having to face Derek White and Drew Holiday is definitely not anything that anybody would want to deal with. But the Cavs made it close, and
I'm excited for that
and
next game.
I know, and the fact I think it's in 10 days from now, so like a week and a
Yeah.
half,
Yeah.
should be real good. But
Yeah,
you
that
know,
Cavs. I feel as though that Cavs record is super fitting to that team. They
Yeah.
are a almost a sleeper team, if you will. But
Absolutely.
I mean, they've absolutely dominated this season. So yeah, I'm really excited for that next game and at Cleveland, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and people can talk about like schedules as much as they want, but it's like the NBA is the NBA. You're not going um it's not like Gonzaga is facing San Francisco. Like these are top level players playing against
Right.
top level players. We saw that literally a week and a half ago with the Celtics losing at home to the Hawks without Trae Young. We've seen that with like a plethora of teams. It's like these are the best players in the world. It just depends on the night. And we got a great night of basketball, especially with this one. And we got a couple more games to talk about, but I mean, it is very fitting that 120 to 117 was the final score. And it was very much like the Celtics had the first half and the Cavs had the second half, but the Celtics prevailed. So I mean, it's hard to not bet. Like it's very much between them and like the Knicks, because it feels like they're finding it out in
Right.
terms of like who the teams are that are going to be coming out of the East. There's one team who I definitely don't think will be coming out of the East, and we'll talk about them later. It is what it is. Nets at Hornets at Nets. Sorry, this game was in Brooklyn. Not really a ton to talk about here. I unfortunately wasn't able to watch this game. More so just on quick reaction to Charles Lee deciding to bench Lamelo. I understand kind of the aspect of shooting 3 for 13 isn't great. I'm aware of that. It's below 25%. Definitely not an efficient night from Lamelo in that aspect, but when you are in your later minutes, you got to have your guys out there. You got to be able to have your players that you know you can rely on. And it's like the same thing with like for the Celtics, it's like if Jaylen Brown isn't shooting great, you still got to have Jaylen out there. You still got to have like your guys out there. Not even just so much like for them to maybe find that rhythm, but also just to create that spacing. Like if you leave LaMelo Ball open, he is one of the more prolific shooters in the league, one of the better shot creators in the league. You kind of have to be able to you have to have a guy out there. And so that kind of spreads the floor, releases some of like the pressure inside and everything. Pause. But it is what it is. And losing by 1 to the Nets. So like I feel like Charlotte, Brooklyn, and the Raptors have all been in games where it's like they've all been extremely close. Like they're all successfully tanking. Where it's like, oh, like it looks like they're trying to win. It's just they're coming up short unless they like play each other kind of thing. So quick little point on that. But I mean, hey, Zarch, you live in Brooklyn now. Have you been to a Nets game?
I went to a Nets game last year. It was Nick Claxton's first game back. I can't even remember who they played, to be honest with you. But
I
will be at the. Well, I want to be at the Nets Lakers game this year.
I know.
So we'll get out there.
Yeah.
We'll get out there.
Yeah. I assume tickets would be much. I mean, still expensive because it's Brooklyn, but
yeah. But
we can talk viewership in a little bit. But
yeah, go Nets, man. They're making their push.
I mean, for reference, Zarch is from Michigan. So for the past couple of years, go Lions. Zarch hasn't had the best sports luck in terms of fandom. Actually, born in Michigan, lived there for all your life. Currently living in Brooklyn. Went to college in North Carolina.
Yeah, no,
so that's a hellhole of professional basketball teams.
It's been pretty brutal all around.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey, Pistons.
What are you gonna do, man?
Pistons. NBA
Pistons are
championship
looking
soon.
All right. I'm optimistic.
I am too. I was saying it last year. They're a much better team than their record ever said it was.
Yeah.
So.
And I almost was, tough to buy that statement at sometimes. Yeah. Even as a Pistons guy, it was a discouraging season last year, and it was tough to think out of the gutter. So
yeah, no, when you're in that moment, it's like you want to think positive, but then you're just like, dude, we've lost 27 straight games.
Yeah,
it's like, what do we do? But hey, new season.
Yep, here we go. So, here we go, man.
Here we go. Next matchup, Nuggets. Nuggets get a non-Jokic win. I said it in last episode. They need some of these wins. I'm not asking them to be a playoff team without Nikola Jokic. But what I am asking is, hey, maybe you stay around 500, even a little bit under 500 in those non-Jokic games, then that kind of puts you back into the conversation of a threat in the West. They defeated the Grizzlies 122-110. Jamal Murray had a great game, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 50% shooting from the field and from three. Michael Porter Jr. had 24 points and 11 rebounds, 52.4% from the field. Congratulations to Russell Westbrook on his 200th triple-double.
Come on.
That's crazy, actually. That's ridiculous. And then for Memphis, Santi Aldama, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 63%. Desmond Bane, though, 1 for 10, 5 points. That's not going to cut it if you want to be an effective number 2 option. The Nuggets really do, on paper, and it very much is, they have a very talented starting 5, fully healthy, obviously. When you have the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, who is the big man equivalent of Derek White. You have Michael Porter Jr., who on any given night can give you a quick 25. Jamal Murray, who's one of the biggest playoff risers and also just a very good combo guard. And Christian Brown, who is really developing well. That team gives you a chance anytime you're on the floor. And then Russ can provide good minutes. Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, those guys are developing well. But it very much was are the minutes or are the non-Jokic games going to be complete throwaways, or are they going to be competitive? Clearly, when they are playing up to the level that they know they can play, they can hold their best with most teams. Now, I know the Grizzlies were again without Ja, and Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't have the best night. Shout out MSU. But the Grizzlies are a tough team. They hold their identity well, and doing it in Memphis, especially. I know not many people are going to say Memphis is the most hostile environment to play in, but a road win is a road win, and ugly wins matter. It doesn't matter if it's the NFL or the NBA. Beating a team on the road is a lot harder than beating them at home. So shout out the Nuggets, man. Shout out the Nuggets. You got anything for that? Or?
Yeah, it was, another weird burst of a game for Michael Porter.
Yeah. I mean, that's just It's just how it usually is, though.
Right. It was good to see Jamal showing out.
Yeah.
We were talking recently about Jamal and playoff Jamal versus regular season Jamal, and it's good to see him kind of doing his thing, 50% shooting.
I mean,
Um,
I'll tell the. Should I tell the Jamal story? The FaceTime Jamal story from the
sure.
playoff from Zarch and I and our
Oh
friend and our
yes,
good friend yeah, and our good friend Hunter. And was Frazier? I think Frazier was on that FaceTime as well.
it was Xavier was there too.
Oh yeah, Xavier was there. So it was like the 4 or 5 of us. We were all just like on FaceTime together watching game 2 of the Lakers Nuggets series. And Hunter happened to be like a second or two ahead of us. And so Jamal Murray goes to his right, step back on AD, and then Hunter just goes, "Don't pull it out, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9." And he makes it. But before he makes it on Zarch and I's screen, Hunter just goes, "Oh my God, he pulled it out." And we just went crazy. We were like, "Oh my
Yeah, it was
God, game
wild.
winner." And then it took Hunter 5 seconds to realize, "Oh, that was for the game." So
That was
I
crazy.
I think of like, "Oh, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9." And then it was going, "Oh my God, he pulled it out," so often. It is so funny.
That was great. That was great.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's always fun watching Jamal do his thing. He's an exciting player to watch. So
And when he is on, he is on.
yeah, he hits. He hits.
Like,
So
I went to the Celtics Nuggets game last year in Boston, and he had like 40, like 43 or something on like 80% shooting from the field. And I was like, all right, so there's like nothing we can do to stop him. And
yeah,
it would be like a quick double team, like blitz him with a double team of like Drew and Derek. And as soon as rotations would happen, he would have a 1-on-1 and he would just like pull up and just drain it. And I was like, all right, there's no shot. There's no shot. We're winning this, but I think once he finds his rhythm, he'll be back to the caliber of player that he usually is. So
yep,
yeah.
yep. And I think the Nuggets, they can find consistency, make a good case.
Yeah, absolutely. Get healthy, get
Yeah,
consistency, boom. You're back in the West. And
because in the past when Jokic is hitting, the team thrives, and when Jamal's going and Jokic is going, they are quite dangerous teams. So
yeah, most definitely. Next matchup, Spurs defeat the Thunder in an NBA Cup matchup without Wemby, which last episode I did say not to toot my own horn, I predicted the Spurs to win this matchup because I know ball. But I didn't realize Wemby wouldn't be playing. But Keldon Johnson had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Harrison Barnes with a 20-8 performance. Chris Paul, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, with some really clutch shots and just kind of like grounding them at the end of the game and just being like, hey, we're good. We are going to just calm down, relax, and kind of having that veteran presence. Game was sealed with a nice Stephon Castle block on SGA with about like 20 seconds remaining. But OKC put up a fight. Shea had 32 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists on 55% shooting. J-Dub, who has really been emerging as a great player, who had to play center in this game, had 27 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, 5 steals on 50% shooting. With the Spurs, it's like very interesting how the identity of that team is like sure, Wemby is like the focus of that team. Nobody's denying that. But like when they get their other guys involved, that's really when they kind of elevate themselves. Like Harrison Barnes obviously has been around the league for a very long time. Keldon Johnson has proved himself as a pretty viable scoring option. Stephon Castle has been very underrated in terms of rookie performances. And then it's just like once you get Wemby back, and it's only just going to improve. Obviously, I think you probably only get Chris Paul for maybe a year, at most 2. But like out of all the guys that like Wemby is truly being set up for success, having Pop and Chris Paul like kind of mentoring him and saying, "Hey, this is how we handle the game. This is how we get better," and everything like that. So, but I think this was definitely a game where you kind of saw the negative side of the small ball theory with Davignol and the Thunder. Like I know we'll talk about them again in a little bit, but like there's only so much you can do when the tallest guy in your court on your team is 6'6" and you're playing against a 7'1", 7'2" guy in Zach Collins, and thankfully they didn't have to deal with Wemby, which I think really would have made things worse. But hey, it was a great game, and great for the Spurs to really get a big W, especially in the NBA Cup for them. So, but yeah, I mean, the main thing I have with OKC is I just think their offense isn't really clicking. Like, they don't have the best like they're not shooting well. They aren't turning over the ball really that much, which is great. But I think the reason why people aren't really concerned at all or having such little concern with them is because of how good their defense is. Their defense is like by far the best defense in terms of defensive rating, and this is without Chet for the past couple of games, and they finally got their first game with Isaiah Hartenstein back last night. But there's only so much you can do with that size. If they improve on their shooting, then I definitely see them getting to a point where you say, okay, yeah, this is definitely one of the most dangerous teams. They still are a very dangerous team and a team that you don't want to face once they figure out their shooting. But I mean, it was just a clear example of saying like, hey, this team, when they are on or when they are fully healthy, they are going to be an issue for the league. So
This was one that I didn't see any highlights of or anything, but I'm noticing that the Thunder only had, amongst two players, 7 free throw opportunities.
yeah.
So it's kind of telling me maybe they aren't able to hit the paint as hard, or, like you said, that small ball is kind of affecting them on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also is just like a lot of it is outside shooting as well. Like Lou Dort, 8 attempts from 3, Aaron Wiggins, 7 attempts, Jalen Williams, 6, Cason Wallace, 5, Shea, 8, Caruso, 5, Adam Flagler, 7. So it's like having 53 attempts and from 3 and only 7 attempts from the free throw line. That's very much a disparity that you don't really, that you wish you kind of were able to reduce some of the 3 points shot attempts and increase the free throw attempts. But I mean, if you're missing open threes, then you're just missing open threes. There's not much that you can really save in that aspect. So, but yeah, just I know it'll get better. It's just that's like a light concern, I guess. There's no need to push a panic button whatsoever with the Thunder, but it's just once they get fully healthy, once things are able to alleviate a little bit better, then it will get better. So
when is Chet coming back?
Probably not for another I think minimum 7 weeks. Yeah, I think it was a fractured hip.
Yeah.
So, but I know Isaiah Hartenstein is back, and I know he's back about a week earlier than, and he had a great performance. So, but we'll talk about him in a little bit. But Zarch, you know this. You know I love my quirked up white boys, and there is no more quirked up white boy than DK on the Lakers in Dalton Connect. Lakers defeated the Jazz 124 to 118 off of Dalton Connect's 37 points. 75% from the field. I think he was 12 of 16 shooting from the field and 9 of 12 from deep. Tied the rookie record for 3-point makes. Fun fact. Dalton Connect made the same amount of 3-pointers in this one game as Michael Jordan did in his rookie season. The NBA's changed. That's all I'm saying. That's just how the game has evolved. 3-pointers weren't the norm back then. It was very much get a big man, driving kick. There was driving and layups and stuff like that. And just shows you how time does its thing. And LeBron obviously was LeBron, 26 points, 12 assists. AD with 26 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Will Hardy, I think, had a really funny quote where head coach of the Jazz was just like, yeah, everybody in the arena knew everybody in the arena knew who was shooting it, who was taking the shots, except for a couple of guys. And unfortunately, the couple of guys happened to be our team and who was defending him. And I was like both like a funny comment, yet also a comment that the Jazz are going to hear and just be like, dude, what are you saying? Why are you saying that? So, but Dalton Connect has been legit.
Yeah, he's money.
I remember
He's
when
money.
you and I were watching the preseason game with the Suns, and I knew like the level of player that he was because of Tennessee and just watching a ton of him last year in college. But like, I remember you were like, dude, what is it? Like, this is a rookie doing this? So
Yeah, he's gross.
He's gross. Like, NBA ready shooter. Like,
I remember he put on a show against Michigan State when he was at Tennessee, and it was like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Real good player. But I mean, Lauri Markkanen had a great performance, 25 points, 8 rebounds on 56.3% shooting. Keontae George, 18-6. John Collins, 18-8. The Lakers, it's like, if the Lakers want to stay in contention, if they want to be in the non-play-in game playoff teams, these are the games you have to win. It's not like we're not asking you to win by like 30, but if you can win these games, they're going to pay dividends later. Like, when you drop a couple games to the Jazz or the Trailblazers or the Hawks or just any of those kind of lower echelon of teams, it really ruins your confidence. It really ruins your momentum. And getting a win like this, especially an NBA Cup game, it really, really proves things. The Lakers are 9-0 over the last 2 seasons in the NBA Cup. That's crazy. They went 4-0 in group play last year. They went 3-0. They obviously won the whole thing last season, so you obviously have to go perfect in the knockout round. But 9-0 on two-time NBA Cup champion.
They start hot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it very much is just like, if the Lakers stay consistent, then there are very few teams where you can say like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to beat them. Like, it's always going to be a tough fight, especially a fully healthy Lakers team. Those were Tuesday's games. We're going to get to Wednesday's games now. First of the
question for you on Tuesday on the Lakers game.
Talk to me.
How do you feel about D'Lo?
D'Angelo Russell sucks. Hot take. No,
I mean, he had 26 minutes.
He isn't shooting well.
I mean, like, I'm glad they are doing what they're doing, which is limiting minutes.
Yeah.
And, playing Dalton, playing Cam, playing Austin, lots of minutes, because he's not good.
Yeah, no, he
just doesn't fit into what that team is.
I think he does, but it's just like, it's either he's making like a bonehead mistake, or he is also just like not shooting well. Like, there are times where I will see D'Lo and he has the open look 100%, and he will catch it in stride, in rhythm, and just brick it. Like it's this isn't Nets D'Lo anymore. This isn't prime or first stint with the Lakers D'Lo, where you get like that swagginess and it works out. Like, he's trying to have that swagger, and it really isn't.
It's not working.
It's not executing. Yeah. So, but and I mean, you know this better than anybody. It's not like they have a number 2 point guard to rely on in Max Christie. Sorry.
They got to do something.
Gabe Vincent can very much step up, and
I like that.
I do too, but he also hasn't been shooting well.
No.
So I think if Gabe Vincent is able to kind of figure out his shooting and everything, like nobody's asking him to be like a top like 5 shooter, but like a reliable shooter, somebody that you can trust to get a bucket. Like I wouldn't be shocked like with the playoffs, it's very much just like you kind of have like a shorter rotation and also a shorter leash kind of thing. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like the rotation for the Lakers is like AD, Braun, Connect, Austin Reeves, Rui, and maybe D'Lo, and like on a short leash kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that they're working AD, and always fun to watch a healthy AD do his thing. Yeah, 26-14. That's fun. Like, that's fun.
And yeah, I mean, it's just like when you're able to give a night where your 2 superstars combine for 52 and they don't even have the highest scoring night, like that's just like a huge huge weight off of your shoulders to have.
Yeah.
So,
all right, cool.
Wednesday games.
Run it.
First game, Bucks defeat the Bulls 122-106. Score says big win. I say hold on. On the contrary, was a big win, yes, but it was propelled because of a Bucks. I think it was a 22-6 run at the end. The fact of the matter is, you can't give up like that kind of run at the end of a game, especially if you're the Chicago Bulls trying to really solidify yourself and figure out what you want to do as a team. The Bucks are very much on a roll. I think they're 4-1 in their last 5. They're figuring out their team dynamic. Giannis went crazy, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists on 71% shooting. Brook Lopez, 21 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals on 75% shooting. Dame is still struggling a little bit with the shooting, but there really isn't many more effective like actions, like play sets in the NBA than a Dame and Giannis pick and roll. And if they are able to lock that down, if Dame is able to hit some big shots here and there, and Giannis is still Giannis, then if you just figure out a little bit of defense, maybe get another piece, I don't know, then the Bucks really could easily get back into shape. I mean, they very much luck out with being in the East. Like, it's very, very clear that the East is a lot worse than the West, and it is what it is, but the Bucks are definitely not out of it. And for the Bulls, Zach LaVine, 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 60% from the field, 57% from 3. Torrey Craig with 15 points, 6 rebounds off the bench. But other than that, Kobe White didn't play great. Nikola Vucevic didn't play great. I think it's time for the Bulls to move on from Vuce and LaVine. I understand LaVine is very much the Bulls' best player, but you got to sell high on a player like that. And Vuce, big men who can shoot pretty well of that size are valuable. You are going to get, like, this isn't the NFL where you can get like a pretty solid player for like a 4th or a 5th round pick. Most of the time you're going to be getting like another player who could help you out, and a player of those 2 players of that caliber, you could maybe get a 1st. And that leads you to a potential difference maker of a player. So, but the Bucks are finding their way, and it's good to see, So,
yeah, they got some good points off the bench. Would love to see some more games out of them and see if they can keep this consistency rolling. And good to see Doc getting a couple wins in. So
Darvin Ham still got his hands in his pocket. So shout out D Ham. But AJ Green was a huge piece of that coming off the bench.
Did I goof that? Is that who's head coach of the Bucks?
No. Doc's the head coach, but
okay.
it's more so. I saw like a picture and like basically people were kind of just like, it was the whole meme of last year with like the Lakers and everything.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Darvin isn't really like doing much. And then people were like, no, he's fine. And then as soon as he was fired, Lakers fans went, oh, yeah, no, he sucked.
Yeah, that was a problem.
And it just, like he would just be walking around on the sidelines with his hands in his pockets.
Looking like Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. No fist though. But we got a team in the Bucks that had a rough start to the year, are getting better. Segue perfectly into a team that started the year horrible and is just getting worse. Thumbs down. Boom. Philadelphia 76ers lose 111 to 117. Joel had a great night, 35 points, 11 rebounds on just under 50% from the field. Free throw merchant, though, 14 of 14 from the line. Jared McCain, 20 points, 5 boards. Paul George, unfortunately, got hurt. And hyperextended the same leg that he had done earlier in the season. Tyrese Maxey, 8 points on 3 of 13 shooting. First game, all three of them play together. Paul George gets hurt. Tyrese Maxey doesn't play well. And you lose to Memphis without Ja. I mean, we had the meeting that got leaked, and Joel calls the person who leaked it a piece of shit. Excuse my French. But it's like, if you're gonna, I don't even know what to do with the Sixers at this point. You paid so much money for Joel. You paid so much money for Paul George. They're underperforming. Paul George is hurt again. Something has to happen. I don't think it happens right now, but thankfully they own their pick. Because if they didn't, then it would be catastrophic.
If I'm a Sixers fan, I'm upset.
Oh, I'm pissed if I'm a Sixers fan.
I'm just all around upset and confused.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you even do at this point? Tyrese Maxey is, trying his best to be a leader, but also underperforming. And then you got Joel Embiid, who was trying to be a leader for years and is now backing out of that position and underperforming. You got Paul George, who wants to do good on whatever team he's on. Can't get around this injury thing. Yeah, I'm just lost as if I'm a Sixers fan.
Will the process ever end? No.
I don't know.
Because the process won't execute. It's as simple as that. Like, I feel like we've been saying that for the last 7 years. It's like, oh, the process. Is the process finally going to happen? No, it's not.
Nobody actually trusts the process anymore.
Nobody. The Bucks were getting criticized because everybody knew, like, hey, we are going to get better. And it was just they were losing some games here and there. Like, and they were close games. Like, they had 2 close games against the Cavs, could have won those. They had a close game in Milwaukee against the Celtics. And then some of them just like kind of just didn't go their way. Some of them did go their way. But they're like, they have an identity. Like, they have the pieces. Chris Middleton, as soon as he gets back, it's like it's going to get better, but you had everyone back. You have everyone back for the Sixers. And it's not looking good.
Bad.
Real bad.
Looking bad. Looking terrible.
Grizzlies, though, Triple J had a great night. 25 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks.
Yep. Good game from the Grizzlies.
And then Desmond Bane, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. And here's the one thing I will say. The scoreboard says the Grizzlies only won by 6. They were up like 20 for a good amount of the game.
Dare I say the Sixers should rebuild around McCain and Maxey?
You can say that because I agree with you. I saw that on Twitter, and as soon as I saw it, I liked it. The tough part is, though, and I know you know this, it's just who would want Embiid? Like, sure, on paper, Embiid is like a very desirable player. An MVP from 2 seasons ago, or MVP removed like a year and a half ago. 7-1, can shoot, like very effective. Paul George, one of the best players for the last decade. Financially, though, can many teams do many teams? Some of the case is, would a team do it? But some of the cases also, or not so much can they, would they? Because of the second apron, because of the kind of lock that it puts your team in. Like, would they do it? And I don't know. I really don't.
I don't know either.
Like,
I think maybe this is bold. This might be bold.
We love a bold
But-
take. I called Luka Doncic the most overrated player in NBA history last episode. Like,
I don't know. Like, I kind of see him evolving into like a DeMarcus Cousins.
yeah,
Like, no team really wants him because he's a problem, and he's already established for the Sixers, a team who trusted him and paid him a bunch of money. Like, I'm not playing back-to-back games. I'm not, rah, rah, rah. And he's, he's kind of a locker room problem now. And so, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, just like going before the season stating, I'm not going to play back-to-backs. And then being like, oh, well, I'm Joel. I'm kind of unpredictable. I'll play back-to-backs like after the first game and you do horrible against the Knicks. And then like following through with you not playing back-to-backs the next night. It's just like, what are we doing? So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about the Sixers. Jeremy Cane's looking good.
Jeremy Cane looks great. I think it's right now it's pretty clearly like him and Dalton Connect as like the two rookie of the year candidates. Still very early in the season, but like the fact that those two went back to back in picks, McCain at 16 and Connect at 17, it's pretty crazy. The Heat could have had him. The Heat could have had one of them at 15. But they didn't. Why? Because the Heat are stupid. Spoelstra isn't. Pat Riley is. Hunter. Isaiah Hartenstein returned for the Thunder in a big win, 109-99. Again, not the best offense from the Thunder, but again, what do they have? The best defense in the NBA. Jalen Williams, though, J-Dub, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks on 58% shooting and 56 from 3. SGA, 28 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, 37% shooting, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. But the real story is Isaiah Hartenstein returning 13 points, 14 boards, 4 blocks. That is what they paid him to do. That is what he did. I think he was one of the biggest like kind of risers last season in regards to kind of the aspect of just saying like, hey, like I'm developing, I have this role, I know what my role is, and doing it to that fullest extent and that effectiveness. And it was great to see last night. Like there was I don't know if you saw this clip. There's a possession where he had a behind the back pass to somebody who missed the layup. He grabs the offensive rebound and does another behind the back pass to another person who duffed a layup. And I was like, I understand 2 misses, 100%. Very aware of it. But for a big man that size to play make is huge.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking to be Jokic level playmaking because you got J-Dub and SGA to do that. But if you have somebody on that level who can post up on the block and read the floor very well, that really develops you further into a much better basketball team. Alex Caruso found his shooting stroke last night, 17 points on 73% shooting, 50% from 3. For the Blazers, Donovan Clingan had a nice game, 10 points, 9 boards, 2 blocks, 2 steals on 57% with a 3 ball. Anytime you get a 7-2 guy who can move as well as Clingan does, who can somehow shoot the 3, if he can develop that, then it's going to be great. I think he is getting a lot of praise, or he's getting not enough praise as he should be. Just nobody wants to be in the purgatory of Portland. So And Shaedon Sharpe, 21 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. So really great game for the Thunder. Really great to see Hartenstein getting back into the flow of things. So any points on that, Sarge? Or
Thunder look like they're going to hold out until they need to if Hartenstein keeps his butt working and pause. If Thunder look like they're going to make it, pretty well. If Thunder look like they're going to make it pretty well if Hartenstein can keep doing what he did last night. And they're a fun young team to watch. Jalen Williams is putting up high numbers, and that's
he's doing great.
Kind of unexpected but exciting. So
I feel like he is, and I know this is going to sound weird, especially with how he's done this year so far. I feel like he's in like that Jamal Murray category of where people recognize how good he is, or if you're like, he's kind of in that second tier of being a fan where like you're like you're kind of the players you need to know kind of thing. Like for the Thunder, it's SGA and Chet. And then like the real fans are like, no, J-Dub is like that player that really elevates them. And like I really started watching him like last season. I think last season, what year is he? I think this is his third year. Yeah, this is his third season. Yeah, I mean, he was second in Rookie of the Year voting in 22-23. And then he was like, did really well the year after. Who did he lose to? Oh, he lost to Paolo. That's who he lost to. I was curious. I was like, but no, he's been great and definitely a player who helps elevate the Thunder to kind of that, like, especially with the offensive side of the ball, that level that really gets them into like that top tier conversation for sure. So, final game, the Knicks shine over the Suns in Phoenix. Suns fans must hate playing Jalen Brunson because including specifically in Phoenix, Jalen Brunson from last year's game until like going into or like midway or like early in the third quarter had not missed a three in his games against Phoenix in Phoenix. He was 9 of 9 last year, and then he was like 5 of 5 to start the going into the third, and finally missed one. But Jalen Brunson, 36 points, 10 boards, 57% from the field, 63.6 from three. Cat,
10 assists.
10 assists. Thank you. 10 rebounds for Cat with 34 points on 63% shooting. Josh Hart, Mr. Do It All, 19 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, 72% shooting, 66.7 from three. The Suns they don't have the health to kind of alleviate the stress for Devin Booker. When you are without KD, who's playing at an MVP candidate level, Bradley Beal, another very effective shot creator and scorer, that's what leads to Devin Booker shooting 27 attempts, 13 of 27, 33 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. Yusuf Nurkic decided to show up a little bit, 14 points, 12 boards, 3 assists.
Hold on.
Yo.
I have a different reading for Devin Booker's stats.
Let me pull up. Hold up. Wait a minute. We're going to take a look.
I have 12 of 23.
What did I say?
I hate like 11 of 27 or something.
12 of 23. That's what I meant. We're back. Devin Booker, 12 of 23. 2 of 7 from 3. Not great. 5 assists, 3 boards. Yusuf Nurkic, 14 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Royce O'Neal off the bench with 17. But it's just the Knicks were hitting everything from the first half. They shot incredibly effectively. Like, their transition offense was very good. My only concern with them, and I've kind of been saying it for a little bit now.
Same as last year?
A little bit. Wait, what's yours?
Depth.
It's that, and also just minutes.
Hmm.
Like, they were up, like, handedly, like 20 to 15 points majority of this game. They win this game by 16. Jalen Brunson still played. Jalen Brunson, 36. Mikal Bridges, 40. Cat, 34. Josh Hart, 39. And OG, 35. I get they don't have Precious Achua, who was a pretty solid role piece for them last year, who he's injured currently. But, like, these are the games you got to develop your rookies and your lower tier role players to say, hey, we want to see what you can do. We want to see what you can provide for this team. Like, go out there and show us. They had 19 points off the bench. Sure, this is without Mitchell Robinson, but, like, as soon as you say, oh, yeah, we only have 19 points from our non-starters, God forbid if any of the first 5 go down with an injury, then it's instantly just like, oh, well, what do we do now? You know?
Yeah, no, it's kind of the same deal as last year. They make it far, good team, struggling to finish strong, and then they make it to where they need to be, and they're out of ammo.
Yeah. They were without Deuce McBride as well. He, I think, is just minor injury, but still, like, when you are in a situation where you are playing a team like the Suns who don't have 2 of their 3 best players, you got to be able to try different things. You got to give those guys a break, especially on a long flight from New York to Phoenix. So, but yeah, anything else, or want to get to these Instagram questions?
Man, the Knicks look good.
They do.
Otherwise, they're playing sharp. They look connected.
Yeah, they're really catching their stride right now.
Yeah, they look like they're playing well as a team. So it's the easy boat to hop on the Knicks board, Go Nets.
I just think go Nets. I think there are like 4 or 5 teams in the East where I'd say there are like 8 or 9 teams that I wouldn't be shocked if like they were like in the conference finals kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see them there.
So, you want to get to these IG questions?
Let's do it.
All right.
Rip it.
We got some Instagram questions for today. If you are listening to this and do not know my Instagram page, at TalkinTriple on IG, at TalkinTriple on Twitter. If you got a question, DM me or leave a comment down below on Spotify or YouTube, and I will be sure to answer it. Like and subscribe. First question from Zach Rosenthal. Shout out Eagle Hill. Jordan or Braun? I already know your answer, but actually, no, you go ahead. Jordan or Braun, Arch?
Bill Russell.
Good answer.
There we go.
I'm going Hakeem. No, I'm kidding. It's Braun.
Yeah,
It's Braun.
It is.
But this isn't, and it very much is.
If my dad's watching this, it's Bill Russell.
Tom, what up? If my dad is watching this, it's Larry Bird, Big Mike. No, it very much is like a lot of it has to do with just era and who we were able to watch. I very much respect the argument of Jordan. The stats are impressive, but you can't deny longevity. And 20 all NBA seasons, 22 seasons in total. He's probably going to get another all NBA season this year. He's going to get another All-Star. He's over 40,000 points. It's Braun. I have a poster of MJ right there. I have a frame thing, like a frame, like.
Yeah, back at school, you used to have the full.
I have the full wings thing of Jordan. I very much understand the level of greatness that he plays, but if I had to choose, when I think of a basketball player to dominate a team, I'm going to choose the guy who's 6'8", 230, and runs like a cheetah.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
You give your reasons while I hang this back up.
You pretty much said them all. I was trying to think of it today. of like somebody else in another sport who has been able to show this high level of consistency for as long as LeBron has done it in the NBA.
I think the only conversation is Tom Brady, but didn't have the pressure that LeBron did early on.
Right.
So
for sure.
But and like it's the argument of like it 100% one, it's personal preference. It doesn't have to like there will never be
that's why I said Bill Russell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of things, I'm just gonna say Bill Russell and say, you feel however you feel.
Yeah. It's like if you want to 6-0 and yeah, Bill Russell has 11.
Yeah.
He has so much more accomplishment. No, Kareem.
Bill Russell.
Scoring. Karl Malone. No comment on Karl. Anyway, I got Braun.
Yeah, me too.
But Jordan is my number 2.
Yeah.
Last Dance is very good, though. Pretty good.
Can't wait for that LeBron doc.
What do you think it's going to be called?
Kid from Akron.
I just like King. Wait, did you say the kid from Akron?
Yeah.
The King from Akron.
That'd be crazy.
Nice little mashup. I'll executive produce that shit. For my boy Chris Starr. Actually, I should introduce you to Chris. Chris is a good friend of mine. He's a DS guy. He and I did community theater together, but he lives in New York and also is an actor.
Oh,
great guy. Go. He and I share a birthday. He and I share a birthday. So
really
great guy. Shout out my boy Chris.
Shout out.
Chris Starr, has Luke Cornett reached the coveted freaky white status yet? No, because the freaky white on the Celtics is Peyton Pritchard. But here's what I will say. Luke Cornett is like one of the funniest guys in the NBA. He had a who were they playing? I think they were playing. God, who were they playing? Let me take a look at the. Oh, they were playing the Raptors. Yeah, and Luke Cornett like caught a lob, like from Pritchard, and he just started like running back like this, like just super like arm like angled and everything. And it's like he is also incredibly smart. Out of Virginia. Got a 34 on his ACT, which is ridiculous. Like, out of 36. So, I don't think he's reached freaky white status yet because of Peyton Pritchard. Like when you think of... Like, it's just like, with Pritch, it's just like, he's got that, like... He's got the aspect where you could walk by him in the... I kind of think of it as, like, you walk by them on the street and you wouldn't have guessed that they're an NBA player. If you look at Luke Cornett, he's like 7 foot. If you look at Peyton Pritchard, he's shorter than me. And I'm just like, I'm like, yep, that guy is cooking like a good amount of teams. And it's pretty clear. Like he has that ability. So, but I do think Luke Cornett is rather underrated for the Celtics. So yeah. Also, Kristaps is a freaky white on that team as well. So, Luke Turo, my boy, the Love Doctor. Should the Shanghai Sharks trade for Joel? I don't know. I don't think the Shanghai Sharks would really benefit from that trade. I don't really think. I just don't think. I think it would hurt their spacing a lot. I think also just extremely injury prone. I'm not even going to say that. That would just be mean. No, I don't know what the issue is with Joel. He just... I mean, there's a lot of stuff wrong. Wait, actually, I'm curious. What is Joel Embiid's contract? Let's take a look. Honestly, not as bad as I thought. Oh, never mind. Wait, when did he sign this? He's on a 4-year, $213. So he also has a trade restriction that he cannot be traded until March 20th, 2025. And then he has a player option in 2026 to be able to leave the 76ers. But I don't think he will, because he would be getting paid $59 million. So why would he? You know? But the Sixers are in a really tough spot. I feel for Philly fans, even though I really don't like them. It is what it is. But no, I don't think the Shanghai Sharks trade for Joel. Paul George, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, and that is all the questions we got from Instagram. Again, if you want to be featured on next episode, I record on Mondays and Thursdays. I put up polls on Sundays and Wednesdays for each respective episode. I was late to the one today, but thank you to the people that put in a question. We are on to the main segment of this episode.
Shout out those guys.
Shout out to Zach, Chris, and Luke. You can get a cuddle. The main segment of this episode, I know I usually do kind of predictions, but I think I'm going to start doing those daily and kind of just running through, like posting on the story, giving like my own perspective, like kind of a little bit of detailed answers on there. So I'll start that probably tomorrow. But we are going to talk about retired numbers. As aforementioned at the beginning of this episode, Zarch and I have been doing this probably for about a week now, a week and a half maybe, of us like kind of having these conversations about should somebody be retired or not. And I think it's just a nice conversation. So we each have 5 players. We don't know who we each chose. Zarch, take the floor. We will switch off on player. So you'll talk about a player. You'll talk about it. I will give my answer. I will give a player. You give your answer. So go ahead. Who is your first player to talk about?
Now, one of these players, and I figure maybe we'll do this one first, is kind of feels like an easy one, but at the same time is a little bit of a thinker. We'll call it like a half. We'll save it for the end. I'll save that one for the end. How about Tracy McGrady? Do you have him?
That may or may not be one of mine. But no, I think for the Magic, or did you choose the Rockets?
For anybody.
Okay.
What do you, I mean?
I specifically looked at his Magic run.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was 4 seasons. Let me double check. He had 4 seasons with Orlando. All 4 of those seasons All-Stars, 2-time first team, 1-time second team. 3 of those 4 seasons he was top 6 in MVP voting, and he had 2 scoring titles. Now, the stats say yes, but I don't think so because of one specific reason. Penny Hardaway wore the same number. And
That's tough.
Yeah, like that's just like a pure coincidence thing. Like,
didn't I ask you about him today?
I think it was like earlier this week, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Penny gets retired because that Orlando team went to the finals.
Yeah.
And had
his rookie year.
Yeah, and had much better seasons. But like T-Mac was like is very much like one where you almost question it. Now, if he had these numbers, like he still had some great seasons when he was with Houston. A little bit longer of a tenure, about 5.5 seasons, but he had 2 second team appearances, he had 1 second team appearance, 2 third teams, and 3 All-Stars. But again, I just think a lot of it has to do with impact and results. And they just didn't really do much. Magic didn't win a championship. The Rockets didn't really do much. So I mean, Orlando, I think, was his best shot. But I just don't think it will work out. Hall of Famer, no doubt. But unfortunately, I don't think he will get his jersey retired.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
Yeah. But, hey, it's just how the world works. It's just how the game goes.
That's a toughie. All right, you're up next.
All right. So I have one that is pretty interesting for 2 teams. Maybe even 3, but I just don't think he did enough with this first team to really kind of give it to him. That's Ray Allen. With the Sonics, he was there for 4 seasons. All 4 seasons he averaged 23 points or more per game. He had 2 seasons with 25 plus. 4-time All-Star and 1-time second-team All-NBA. The obvious other team is Boston. 3-time All-Star and a championship. I know the end was pretty bitter because of signing with Miami instead of deciding to come back and everything like that and getting injured his final season, but it really is when you, it's kind of crazy just to think like one of the top 5, top 10 greatest shooters of all time might never have his jersey retired, other than like UConn, which I know I don't even know if they retire numbers in college like that, but that was like one of the first people I thought of.
Feel like in Miami they should.
Really?
No.
Yeah, it's like a shot. Like
No.
Yeah.
I don't really think.
It's like you can have like one of the 5 most important shots in NBA history, but it's like Robert Horry isn't getting his number retired anywhere. John Paxson, like sure, as much as he was important to the Bulls, he isn't getting his number retired. So I like Ray was definitely one that I was like, damn, I don't think he will, but it'd be pretty cool. So
all right, my next one, a player that everybody loved, Zebo.
That's a great
Zach
one.
Randolph.
That's a great one.
Now, played 8 seasons with the Grizzlies, over 550 games. He averaged around 17, 10 boards, playing 32 and a half minutes a game.
I'm going to say yeah.
In his 2010 season, he put up 20 points a game, 12 boards, playing 81 games. 2010, 2011, he put up 20, 12 on 75 games. I just feel like he's a Grizzlies legend, and though he didn't make crazy push towards a chip or anything like that, he was a double-double monster and well respected by Memphis and by the NBA. I feel as though he is overdue for a jersey retirement.
Oh, for sure. Like, I think.
Yo, and who else is wearing 50, bro? Like, like nobody else is wearing 50. Just retire the thing, bro.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the like when it comes to, especially like that Grizzlies team. Like when you think of like the grit and grind era of the Grizzlies, like almost they should almost just like hang a banner that says grit and grind, and it should just be Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Zebo, and Marc Gasol.
Right.
And then it's just like you have those 4 numbers together, because you can't say one without saying the other 3.
Right.
Like I think even Tony Allen is like getting his number retired by the Grizzlies. Like I can't even remember, but I think
Zebo's up.
But Zebo is like should, and I think same with Mark, same with Mike. I think it's just with Mike, it's like you just have to wait for him to, and then I think it would be like a next day thing, kind of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if, like, do you know how like some players, if they like, I know if they did this with Paul Pierce and the Celtics, like they'll sign like 1-day contracts and then retire. I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Conley does that
with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I think that's what Zebo did. Was like after his final season with Sacramento, he's like in the summer he signed a 1-day and was like, so Zebo's a great pull. It's a hell of a pick.
Yeah. Thank you.
My next one, I wanted to try and say him for Boston, but Al Horford for Atlanta. 9 seasons, 4-time All-Star, 1-time third team. Was also part of his rookie team the year he was drafted. I know, and it's like the same things that I'm going to say about Boston now is kind of the same way with Atlanta Al. Just one of the most likable guys. One of the most like a pro's pro. Just didn't have, obviously, until kind of the past couple of seasons with Boston, and then like some of the first stint with Boston seasons, just never had the end success or the playoff success that really backed it up. I think personally, like, I wouldn't be shocked if, like, there is something for Boston to do with Al, where it's like, hey, like, this is going to commemorate you, but, like, I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, like, it's very much just, like,
I like it.
It's a question more than anything. Like, do I think it will happen? Probably not, but I think it would be cool.
I feel like it's one of those 50-50 ones.
Yeah.
Like he was a part of that. He was a part of that team that made that push to the conference finals.
Yeah, like him, Millsap, Korver, Jeff Teague.
Part of that 60-win franchise record season. 5-time star. 4 of those at Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, he ranks highly in Hawk stats. And like you said, he was well-liked and he was a leader. And I like it.
I think the tough part, it's very much you can make the case for it, but you can easily make the case not for it as well.
Yeah.
It's like, didn't really have a lot of team success. And I feel, and like you and I were talking about this, the Hall of Fame, the NBA Hall of Fame is very much like individual with some team, with a little bit of team success. Like, you don't have to have a championship to get into the Hall of Fame. Like, if you have the good enough stats, if you want to get your jersey retired, you have to have, like, he was there for this. And so, like, the better player in terms of Al Horford was Atlanta for sure. But the best teammate of Al, I think, is Boston. But yeah. All right. Who you got next?
All right. I could either kind of throw a doozy at you or.
Give me the doozy.
All right.
Because I want to end on your hottest, because you will have the final one, because we matched on T-Mac.
Okay, let me throw 2 little halfers at you.
Okay.
First one, kind of without discussion almost, Carmelo Anthony for the Nuggets.
Okay.
He wore 15.
Wore 50, yeah.
Obviously, Jokic is 15, so...
No, like, yeah.
Not really.
The minute Jokic retires, that number is going to be enshrined with Jokic.
Yeah. And then, we had kind of talked about him. Brook Lopez.
With the Nets? Or the Bucks?
Either the Bucks or the Nets. I think his case is more compelling for the Nets. But he won a chip at the Bucks.
Yeah, I think it's very much, I guess, similar to the Al kind of conversation. Where statistically, like, pretty consistently, like, in that high teens, low 20s in terms of points, grabbing at least, like, pretty consistently, like, 8 rebounds a game. And then when he became the Bucks center, it was just like, he just got better and better and became a better shooter and everything. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll get it with the Bucks, or with the Nets, I meant. But very much the argument can be made that if you think Al is going to get his number retired by the Celtics, Brook should also get his number retired by the Bucks. Because if they don't have...
I would say the same for the...
Frick!
Duncan. I would say the same for the Atlanta side of Al.
Yeah.
I think if you think Atlanta Al should get retired, then I think Nets Lopez has to get retired.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
He's all-time leading scorer for the Nets.
Mm-hmm. That's like crazy to think about,
Right.
Kind of just like, oh, hey, just trying to remember something.
I don't know. Those are both kind of doozies. Easy ones to talk about.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the aspect of like, you almost look at it and I don't even really know what I was going to say. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
It very much is the aspect of like you don't, like, they don't win that championship without Brook, but he also wasn't like one of the 3 best players for the Bucks that series. Right. It was Giannis, Drew, and Chris.
And Drew, yeah.
And so, but hey, another pro's pro.
Yeah.
So, I know. Hey, I know. I said I hate Brook. I think it's more so just because of him being a Buck.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I think it's more just like rivalry than me like actually disliking
That's
him,
fair.
but
That's fair.
like I remember when I was like a lot
I feel
younger and
like-
watching him.
I feel like the dislike for Robin Lopez makes it easier to like Brook
100%.
Lopez.
100%. You're like, oh,
I
this guy
don't know.
sucks.
I-
You're like,
yeah,
oh, he's
dude.
related to him? Oh, definitely don't like him.
Like cut your hair.
Yeah. Stop looking homeless. Because I look 7 with this haircut. Anyway, my next player, another fan favorite, Kemba Walker for the Hornets. Now,
Wow.
yeah. Now, it very much is like if you're asking like an old head, or if you're asking like a older NBA fan and said, hey, when you think of the Charlotte Hornets, who do you think of? They'll probably say Alonzo Mourning. But if you were to ask anybody from the ages of like 27 to like a teenager now, when you say Charlotte, or like probably like 15 or something, maybe 16, if you were to say Charlotte Hornets, they'd be like Kemba Walker. Like he was there for the transition back to the Hornets after being the Bobcats. He was there for the dud years. Like he had 4 straight seasons, and I know the last season was with the Celtics of All-Star appearances. But with Charlotte, he had 4 straight seasons of 21 plus points per game. He had 3 All-Star appearances with an NBA third team. Like, I feel like it's very much nostalgia that is telling me yes. And I think what he did for the city of Charlotte is like very much up, like lifting it up. Like, but I mean, it's just, how could you not? It's Kemba Walker. like he was so good. And it's similar, like his career dwindled so fast. And like it's similar to like Oladipo, Victor Oladipo. Like sure, his was more injury related to where he just like lost that step. But it was just like it was like with a blink of an eye, you didn't realize it, but they were just gone and retired. And you're just like, what? It's like, when did Kemba become a development guy for the Hornets? It's like, I wouldn't have guessed that. Like, why is he playing in Monaco? Why isn't he playing in the NBA kind of thing? So I think that's like, it very much is like, if you put him in, it's like, hey, like this is a guy that represented our team really well. Not so much because of stats, but I love Kemba. So
Yeah, we love Kemba. Cardiac Kemba.
Just, I have that ingrained into my brain. I remember like almost all of those games from that UConn run. Like I was in the base. I was in like the old Dover home, my old Dover home with AJ. I think it was like him and a couple of his friends, and we were watching that game live. And I was like, "Oh my god, what just happened?"
That was crazy.
It was so cool.
My
So you have 2 left,
or second to last?
Yeah,
I
because you
can
gave
have as many left as need be.
so you gave who were the last 2 you just gave? 15 or Carmelo with the Nuggets, but probably not because of Jokic. And then who was the other one?
And Brooke.
Brooke. Okay.
So okay, let me do one more.
You can do one if you have 2. Then you can do one,
Okay.
and then I'll do my last one, and then you end it out.
I'm gonna do one more, and you close it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Bradley Beal.
Okay.
With the
Wizards?
Wizards.
Yeah. Imagine he already had a case for the Suns. That'd be crazy. Dude, I always forget he had 2 30 plus point years.
Right? Games played about 700. Average 22 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 46% shooting.
He was like, yeah, when you think of those Wizard teams, it's him and John. It's him and John Wall. Like,
right. Well, I think when you think of John Wall, you think of John Wall and then Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal wasn't really Bradley Beal until
not until like
the end, right?
Yeah, like kind of
2019.
2019 was really when he took the step up because that's when that was when what was the deal? Or no, that was the next season because John, I think, was dealing with some injuries, so that's why Bradley had like that 5-point jump. But like, I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, why not? Like, 11 years with a team, like that is like 3 All-Star appearances and an All-NBA third team. Like, sure, not like not the team success that you kind of think of, but like those Washington teams from like the mid late 2010s were like really good and were very much a threat.
Yeah.
Like, and just and the epitome of it was Bradley Beal and John Wall, and just like one of like a very like underrated scorer. Like obviously the numbers like has 2 30+ point per game seasons, but just so good and just such a talented, just a fun player to watch too. So
I agree.
that's a great one to. It's a great poll. I had one written down originally. I had Kyrie in Dallas, but I forgot that he's only been there for like 3 seasons. So, and I was gonna say Kyrie in Cleveland, but it's like if he doesn't get one in Cleveland, then like what are they doing, kind of thing.
Right. I almost said Kyrie.
Yeah,
but had that same thought process.
Yeah, but I decided then to write down somebody that we talked about earlier in this episode, Paul George. With the Pacers. 7 seasons, 4 All-Star appearances, 3 All-NBA third teams with a most improved. Yeah? That's a thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he was the engine of that team that got them to those Eastern Conference Finals. Like,
yeah, I mean, the fact that a lot of people could name the number that he was.
Yeah.
Thinking about, it's like Paul George, Pacers, you're like 13.
PG-13.
Like, gross.
The craziest part, though, that a lot of people, I feel like I say a lot of people, but I know people who also know this. He wore 24 to begin with.
Yeah.
And then it was like in between a season, he was like, I want to be 13. And then everybody was like, oh my God. The easiest nickname. A movie variable.
That's right.
I was about to say something very wrong, but I was realizing I was looking at Bradley Beal's stats. I was like, Paul George only has 4 All-Star appearances? Or like 3? But that is... No, he has 9. My bad. I know it's all time, but... But yeah, I mean, just so good.
Yeah.
He has a couple
real good.
Defensive Player of the Years. Or no, all defensive teams in there as well. But like those battles were like, I really do think like those Pacer teams were like one piece away from making it to the finals. Like it was Paul George, Roy Hibbert, David West, George Hill, CJ Miles, he stepped up because Danny Granger went down with an injury. Like those are like, he was so fun to watch. And I really do think that he truly would have cemented his like legacy if he didn't get injured that one game, like that exhibition game where his bone was like out of his leg.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, like that just took away his age 24 season. But then it's just like, and I think that's also like the frustrating part about time is you look at Paul George now and you have like TikTok people who haven't been watching basketball for the past 10 plus years and just say, oh, playoff P, oh, podcast P, when
right.
And sure, like you can watch all the edits you want, but it's like when you watched him play in the early 2010s, you're like, oh, this guy's a freak. He's so good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was a real deal.
And like this, one of the smoothest players of all time, and somebody that you really just wanted to like have on your team, and like very much like the play style you want. So
right.
But is what it is. So Zarch, before we go,
That's a good segment. I like that segment.
Hey, you help me find that segment. So
Let's go.
before we go, I have a question for you.
What you got?
Give me your top 5 players of all time. Actually, two-parter. Top 5 players in the NBA right now and top 5 players all time.
All right, top 5 in the NBA right now. In no particular order, unless you want a particular order.
Do whatever you want.
In no particular order. Jokic, Kevin
Durant.
Yes.
I know. I just making sure for the listeners at home.
I'll give you 3. Maybe I need to hear. Well, hold on. I'm just so bad at pulling names.
It's all good. Rodney Hood is retiring.
Who that?
Oh, he was just like a role player. Shout out Rodney Hood.
Okay. I'm gonna say Kevin, LeBron. Well, Kevin when he's healthy.
Well, yeah. No, this is
LeBron,
like fully healthy.
Jokic. I know you might feel otherwise.
I'm not saying a thing.
It's really
this is your opinion.
It's hard not to toss Luka in there. I like what I've seen from Anthony Edwards recently, but
okay,
it's hard not to toss Luka in there, and then probably Giannis.
Fair enough. Top 5 all time.
This I will put in order.
Okay.
LeBreezy, Jordan, Steph, Magic, Shaq.
There you go, everybody. I hope you had a great time listening to this episode.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's the thing now. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm doing. It's literally those 2 questions, and then that's how the episode is gonna wrap.
That's insane. What a legend.
Okay, Zarch. So happy that you were able to join me for this episode.
Man,
I appreciate you very much. So much.
Man, I don't know what I'm doing on here. It's just cool to be here with you, dude. This is just fun to be here, man. Watching you crank this out is exciting.
Hey, man, I got as much credibility to be on here as you do. So
yeah, well, you watch a lot of ball like all the time, man.
Dude,
you put in the work for these podcasts. So.
It's getting tiring.
You put in the work for these podcasts like crazy.
For reference for everybody, I also work a part-time job. And I'm getting up at like 7 a.m. most days. So I'll be like done watching basketball at noon, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just like, I just want to fall asleep here. But unfortunately.
Nah, man, this is super cool to be just kind of like watch you do your thing here.
Well, thanks, man.
You'll probably be editing this back, and I'll just like me sitting and looking at you. Just...
No, but you get the benefit of wearing the headphones and like having the mic right there. Because if I want to sit back, I got to do this.
Yeah, dude, I got real comf at some point. I was like, man, look at honestly, at some point I was just watching. I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was like,
in my house, like, yeah, it's a good point.
I was like leaning back, and I would the mic.
Nope, hello.
So really appreciate you for joining this episode. You are the homie. Thank you for taking this time with me. Everybody, thank you for listening. That is the end of episode 7. Again, follow me on all the socials, TalkinTriple on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the blog, follow the YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment. Please let me know if you have any tips, any questions, any concerns. The player for today is Andrea Bargnani. I hope you all have an incredible day, an incredible weekend. I will see you all on Tuesday. That's the episode, baby. And
yeah, there.
Yeah.